This is going to be your guide to using Wordier in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. These stats are so unfair to Stantler, I don't really know how to put it into words because Stantler has never been usable since there's hundreds of Pokemon with better stat distribution than Stantler. If you want a special attacker, there's infinitely better. If you want a sweeper, if you want a wall breaker, if you want anything, you can find it elsewhere outside of Stantler. I mean, Eviolite, even as an option now that it can evolve, doesn't really work with these stats. There's just better pre-evolution Pokemon as well. Stantler has nothing. So we have Wordier, and then they screw it over with 105, 105. Like, is this just so some Timmy that doesn't understand Pokemon is playing it like red and blue version for the first time can use this thing because it's a new flashy Pokemon for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then use any move and be successful on it, even though it's impossible to be successful on this Pokemon? I'm not sure. We do have an upside in the normal psychic typing being really good. Just weak to Bug Dark. That's it. You also pick up immunity. You don't have any resistances though, so everything's neutral, which is kind of weird because in Pokemon Scarlet Violet or also like modern Pokemon meta, you're not really seeing like too many needs for resistive hits because there's just a super effective hit coming. That's really all that matters, or a very powerful physical, or not physical, very powerful neutral move. 103.72, that's new. I guess we start like getting into some weird ranges here where, yeah, we don't get immediately blown up by every physical hit out there. And then we also have a signature move. So like the signature move has to save this Pokemon. 70 power, 90% accuracy, 100% chance to raise the user's defense by 1. That's all we get on a 65 speed Pokemon. So there's no argument here where it's like, okay, you outspeed the opponent, you get the defense boost, they don't KO you, and then like you two-shot them with the Psy Shield Bash, and now you're just unkillable? No. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do some spoiling right now because there's Pokemon like this that exist. 130, 140, 105, 80. The defenses are just, every stat is better except for special attack and speed, but when you're talking about a 65 speed Pokemon, that doesn't even matter, and you're not utilizing the special attack, and even then, like, hybrid mixed Pokemon have always been fraudulent, so this is just disgusting, and this is also disgusting for different reasons. We have the Intimidate ability, so it's like this thing doesn't even get an outrageous ability with like some kind of outrageous signature move that makes it a very niche pick but can take over a game kind of thing. Nah, you Intimidate, so you lower their attack. Then you Psy Shield Bash, so now like you're physically indestructible. And then you can't do anything. It's super unfortunate. So if we are to put together a moveset for Wordier, what do we have? As an old school normal type Pokemon that's kind of like leeching off the Stantler moveset, we just have a lot of stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe the Eviolite Stantler, like, I don't know. If the opponent has only physical Pokemon, I feel like Garganasalt is going to be better. Or any physical dedicated tank than doing something like this. Like, this can be neat. I guess you have, like, the slightest amount of viability, but you can't phase the special attacker under any circumstance. And also just kind of feels really weird having the stats like this, so then we want to go Impish Nature, because Psy Shield Bash is physical, but doesn't really matter. And then do we get Recover as, like, a normal type Pokemon, or a normal into normal psychic type Pokemon? No. So, like, you do this and, like, rest, and then Sleep Talk, and then you need something for Dark type Pokemon. Kind of, maybe. Technically, Mega Horn exists, but we're going to be seeing like a lot of dual type, Dark type Pokemon, so Mega Horn might just be neutral at the end of the day, which I guess is better than being completely immune. Facade has that stupid thing where you can't like rest Sleep Talk it, which would be busted, but come on, it's Mega, or not Mega, it's modern Pokemon. We should be allowed to do something like that. And then nothing else really like adds up or makes sense too much. And I wish this Pokemon had like more utility options, but I guess like, yeah, you just have to put this here to, well, not that. Then we got Psy Shield Bash. As for Tera typing, Pure Normal is just solid. But we're not getting anything out of it, but also it's like, where do we pivot here? Do we just, like, pivot into a Ghost-type Pokemon, and then that way we can eat a Fighting-type move, and then still be supered by Darks, which we're kind of weak against on just having the Size Shield Dash, and then Ghost-type Pokemon, which we also can't really hit that well. There's probably, like, some kind of, like, moveset, combination here, and this also just goes into deeper Pokemon theory that I was talking about before Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, where I'm like, alright, what is best blank Tera type for best blank situation? And then you can kind of like mix it into a whole new idea of move typing theory against the cast of Pokemon. There's actually something optimal here that like splashes into most Pokemon. No one else really got into that, and it's been too much of a mental burden to like super duper solve. Do we go Confused Ray because it's meme? And then, like, maybe they eventually just, like, KO themselves. Problem is, like, Dart-type Pokemon runs a day. But there is one layer of type theory that I have solved. And that's, maybe you don't need to worry about having a mono-stat Pokemon. Or mono-type, like, offensive move Pokemon. Because either they don't bring a Dark-type, and then you're actually looking really strong on something like this. Or they do bring a Dark-type, and you just make it to where your other two Pokemon are only meant to deal with that. And special attackers, like, special tanks that can remove Dart-type Pokemon extra effectively, and then Stantler hits the field, intimidates a physical Pokemon, Size Shield bashes them twice, rest, Sleep Talk, Size Shield bashes some more, maybe gets the Confuse Ray in there, they're not allowed to play the game, and by the time their last physical Pokemon comes in, Stantler actually is winning, and that's kind of it. Like, that's the most you get out of it. Actually, I do like the Body Slam, thinking about it. Like, you don't get a lot of play on the Body Slam, and it does feel weird. It's like, ew, Ghost Dark are going to immune us, but Ghost Dark aren't really a problem. So, Body Slam, that paralysis chance on top of it could really help out. Maybe that's where we put in the extra point in speed. And then you just need, like, the fattest special defense tank out there. Fortunately, Blissey exists. So, like, if they bring a special attacker, you go into Blissey, start setting up on the Blissey. Eventually, you sack off the Blissey into their physical Pokemon. Stantler comes in, and you do something. Maybe. Same idea on the Wordier. Let's actually see like how the Eviolite plays out. Wow, that's actually a bit surprising. So I have the close combat Moonblast here against an Iron Valiant, and then like just kind of like showing like, okay, we're seeing some kind of strong hits. This isn't like choiced 130 offense, but we still survive those because we find like these weird ranges in the 100 plus the 70 somethings, and the Moonblast, even though we're not investing into it, the 103 hit points kind of carrying us. There's also probably something extra optimal to where we have like, okay, we have 107 combined here. What if we cut this down to like 148? Then I need to go to Pokemon Showdown, just kind of make sure we get the most optimal numbers at level 50. Because like, yeah, it's hard to know like every EV breakpoint at level 50. Then we go into Special Defense 109. Ooh, I got it. Alright, and then we go 108. And then, like, maybe we can break this up a bit more because of those hit points. And that brings us to 105. But also kind of, like, balancing it out. So, yeah, actually, it's just kind of weird. So we go 0, 2v2. Actually get, like, 2% durability if we mix it up a bit. So, do that. Probably fine. And then your Wordier can like survive some special hits and then do nothing after surviving special hits. Alright, now we switch this over to a Stantler, which even despite existing since Generation 2 for over 20 years, has no moveset possible on it. Go Eviolite now, and then this is going to be kind of like a different idea because the hit point gap isn't as big, and then go to level 50. Now, we do have, like, the close combat here doing double damage, so that's not as fair of a comparison. Wow, like, Stantler just... Oh, wait, that's Enigma Berry. Wow. I 100% clicked Eviolite. So, Stantler taking slightly less damage just with the Eviolite. Oh, yeah, and we also need the Impish Nature, so actually, it's going to kick that over kind of a bit. And it kind of shows, like, alright, physically, yeah, it's like a pure, physical, dedicated Pokemon. We do alright, and it's not like, oh, Wordier is just tankier with the 103 hit points. So the Eviolite Stantler has something, so then Wordier can run leftovers, Wordier can run some kind of other item that's going to help it out. Maybe when Moringa and Keyberries come out, like, there could be something with these Pokemon, but that just doesn't happen right now. And you have, like, these other weird options where it's like, oh, I can Calm Mind while also being strong physically, or, like, strong against physical attacks. Why couldn't this have been special? Why couldn't there have been, like, some kind of switch around here to where you can use a move that gives you the opposing defense, and then that also kind of stacks up? Like, this would be nasty if Psyshield Bash was a special attack, and then it's like, okay, I just one Calm Mind, one of these, we're now +1 defenses, and I can actually be someone threatening on damage, and depending on the Pokemon I came in on, I have no problems whatsoever. No, you don't even get that. I don't know if you, like, you don't stack up, you don't scale it fast enough for Chesto Resto to matter, and just kind of like the same idea. So, like, you get move slot syndrome otherwise, you can body slam, slow the opponent down, and then Rest Sleep Talk is just kind of the out for this game. Unfortunately, what do you do into Dondozo? You lose the game. And that's an extra big problem, because if you have a Blissey and they bring in Dondozo, you lose the games. So 2 of your 3 spots in Battle Stadium are going to be just make you lose to Dondozo, which means you need an anti-Dondozo Pokemon that can survive while you have, like, an Eviolite Stantler or a Wordier on your team, and then, like, the game might play out alright. The interesting thing, though, is, like, normal, not a lot of, like, prevalent normal type Pokemon, so this destroys Houndstone in, like, the wildest of ways. So that's kind of neat, and that's about it, I guess. Like, you look at the moveset, and there's some kind of, like, cool tech potential where it's, like, Trailblaze on the Stantler, but again, like, you don't have enough towards, like, okay, I max out speed, max out hit points, I Trailblaze, somehow survive, and then I start, like, snowballing on Psyshield Bash. No, it doesn't really work that way. And then that means the most you have is a 95 attacking Pokemon, and for some reason Wordier lost an insane amount of speed, even though it's an evolution, so, like, this absolutely did not need to happen. None of this needed to happen. And then, like, you could have just gotten more out of the Pokemon. So it's like, yeah, 105 Pokemon, most likely uninvested, but even if it was, even if we, like, use the base stats to do something like this and then, like, Trailblaze it out, there's at least 24 Pokemon that do that better. 24 if you're counting, like, Flame Charge strats. Maybe 25 if we just kind of include anything that can +1 a speed and then pull some shenanigans later. So yeah, that's what I mean, like, the moveset, there's nothing really unique here, except for the Psyshield Bash Intimidate. There's also, like, just physical tanks that exist in the game. This might work. I think this is possible to win a game, which means the upgrade is Stantler is no longer completely useless, it's just bad. And you can do the same thing on Wordier, to where you're initially sacrificing durability because Eviolite Stantler is just tankier, but you get more special defense reliability, so maybe there's something that doesn't immediately in the game. Like, you can tank a special hit, body slam, they get paralyzed, and then, like, maybe you outspeed into a Psyshield Bash, and then they get full paralyzed, and then you win. Like, that's possible where it isn't for the Stantler. Actually, no, because it means the opponent just, like, not attacking, and Eviolite 65 will still survive, so yeah, I guess it's saying also because people don't have basic comprehension skills to break down what I said, you run that on the Impish Nature. You can use leftovers. I'm not really, like, too sure of an item, just some kind of item. You can meme a Bright Powder, that's actually pretty good. You can go for an Apricot Berry, because, like, if you are Chesto Restoing and you just take, like, a very powerful special hit, predict it into the rest, and then just, like, have +1 special defense as your Psyshield Bashing, that's going to be pretty good. And that's about it. So there we go, guys. Hope you all enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.